So you saw a great price for a PRS Standard 24. You also saw a great price for a PRS Custom 22. Which one should you get? I happen to have both of them right here, and let me tell you, there is nothing better than waking up to not one but two PRS headstocks. Just seeing them on your rack, it's absolutely, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. There's something about the headstock that's just absolutely invaluable. It speaks volumes to the character of the guitars. So let's talk about the character of each guitar, because I have both right here. This is a standard 24. This is a custom 22. What's the difference? Which one should you buy? Which one sounds better? I don't have all the answers. I only have my personal preference. But I can tell you right out of the gate, between these two guitars, I recommend buying the custom 22 or a custom 24. I assume that they're in the same range of quality. Why do I suggest something that's $300 more than the other? Why would I recommend that to anybody? Well, it's a matter of quality. It's a matter of feeling quality, and it's a matter of the small differences that they put into each guitar that really makes it worthwhile. So the biggest apparent difference is that the custom comes with a maple veneer on top of the mahogany body. This veneer, this design that you see, and all these little intricate details are not shown on the standard 24. Now let me take it off and show you more closely what it's lacking. It's not an ugly finish by any means. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous finish. And it looks really good through and through. It's very nice, and attention is paid to the details here. However, when you compare that finish to something like the custom, you can really see it coming through. I mean, just, it might be hard to even capture on camera what's going on here, but when you have it up close, you can absolutely notice the beauty in the design, and it's something that shines through all the way. There is one difference that I'm kind of weary about. When you compare these two, the headstocks, this one actually has a matching headstock, which is indicative of a higher price range, whereas this does not. It's a black headstock. I think for this design, the black headstock looks really good, especially with the black on the back, whereas this is red all the way through. So it really makes sense to put the red on the top of the headstock. However, I mean, this is a better instrument, in my opinion, and this is very important to note that it's just my opinion and it's just my advice. But if you heed this advice, I think you'll be happy. I really do, because I'm really, really happy with this choice. This is the guitar that I play most of the time. Now, another one of the small details that you have to pay attention to, and it's about the small details, because these both come with 8515S pickups. They are the same pickups. They sound the same for all intents and purposes. So the details, the small details, are really important, and what's important to me is the lack of binding on the headstock. This very dark rosewood with no binding, instead a clean transition onto the blacks, is just phenomenal. It just absolutely makes the difference to me. Furthermore, you have this binding on the side. Binding, I say that in quotations, it's not actual binding, but it's a very, very cool transition effect if you look very closely. And I've looked closely in my free time. I will just sit and stare at each grain on the side of the guitar, because these grains, you can see it here in the camera. There's a difference. You can notice the difference in the breaks, and that means everything to me. So these both have birds, but I showed you the dark rosewood fingerboard on that one. Now let me show you the fingerboard on this. It's lighter, and it has this cream colored kind of binding. Now, this is, of course, very personal. It's a very personal preference, but I really, really don't like guitars that have this kind of binding with a lighter fretboard. It screams to me cheap, and I hate saying that. I really wish that wasn't the case, but my own preference makes me gravitate towards this kind of fretboard over this kind of fretboard, which is a clear indication to me to play one guitar over the other. Furthermore, you have a difference with the binding. It doesn't go, this one you can't really see just frontally. You can see this one frontally. You can see the cream on the edge there. So that is a difference. So I know it's nitpicking. It really is nitpicking. These guitars are very similar in many regards. They both have the PRS tremolo pop-in. Both of them work very well, very well. The bridge is very well constructed. But as a matter of personal preference, I just can't help but adore this guitar, and I would recommend anybody else to get a similar guitar so they can have a similar kind of experience. And you don't have to buy the two different guitars to really make this comparison. So, in summary, I know what it's like to not have money to afford a guitar and to really look for the best value for the money. So, by no claim no stretch of the imagination am I saying don't buy this guitar because it's not worth it. Just the opposite. I think this is an incredibly, incredibly strong instrument, and all the good things that I said about the Custom tonally apply to this guitar. It's just a matter of preference in detail. So if you care about, of course you care about the details in the guitar. If you can afford to, I would just say save up those extra few $100s. Sell your Xbox, sell your PS4, or get a job and work for it to save up for a Custom, because this thing is absolutely magnificent. The next few things that I have to mention are a little bit smaller. So this Indonesia, and on the truss rod cover, it says Custom. Another great addition is that it doesn't just say SE in big, bold lettering. It instead has Paul's signature right there, which again, screams quality. That's awesome. It does say SE right there. Let's look closely at the standard. It doesn't say Custom, it says Standard on the top here, but it also has his signature and that small SE, which is just a great touch. It absolutely screams quality. Now, at the end of the video, I'll do some sound comparisons to see if you guys can really pick out what I'm missing. Maybe I just don't have a great ear for it. I acknowledge that I don't have a great ear for it. Oh, these also both have coil splitting capabilities, and the coil splitting sounds really nice. It sounds like a split coil. It doesn't sound like something that's significantly weaker. And I'll often find myself gravitating whenever I need to play some stratty kind of single coil tones. I love playing them on the PRSs. It's just absolutely magnificent. Now, last few notes. I'm not endorsed by PRS at all. I'm not beholden to anybody. I'm coming at you with as honest of an opinion as I can. And I must say, I've had some pretty bad PRS experiences in the past. You've seen the Paul Allen, hopefully you've seen the Paul Allender PRS review that I did. I spoke wonders of it. It's a great instrument. But it wasn't, for whatever reason, it wasn't for me. I just didn't like being constrained to the EMGs. Now I kind of regret it. I kind of want EMGs back. I've had two PRSs in the past. The first PRS I ever owned was the Mark Holcomb PRS, and I had personal problems with that instrument. Not as a matter of its construction, but the matter of getting it secondhand, and a lot of things were flawed with it that I couldn't push myself past. There was a rusting of the hardware, rusting of the pickups, there was a missing truss rod cover. Aesthetically, there were a lot of problems that ended up happening on the guitar. So that was kind of bad first PRS guitar, especially when I heard so many great things about the brand, about the quality. You know, once you hold a PRS, it's as good as you can get. So that was kind of disappointing. And then I got another PRS, chalking it up to used market. That's just how it goes. I got the Floyd 24, and that one had a bunch of issues going on with it. The trem bar was incredibly creaky. There were a bunch of dead frets. The neck didn't feel very comfortable. So I had some real reservations about PRSs. I gravitated more towards Fender and Gibson as a matter of personal taste. But looking back at it, and where I am presently, I can say that I'm 100% on the PRS board. I'm on the PRS train. This thing really, specifically this one, the Custom, the feel of the body and the feel of the neck reminds me of water. It's the feeling of water. It just flows so smoothly, and the notes just ring out. there's nothing I can find that's problematic about this PRS. And it only inspires me. It points me in the direction of acquiring more PRSs, of having more of these headstocks on the top of my rack and just getting to adore them, because these are real pieces of art. Absolutely. It's not to discount any other brands whatsoever, but I notice the quality and the craftsmanship in this instrument in particular. And that speaks volumes to the character of the company. If you can produce a great instrument, if you can show that, yeah, we looked at the details, you're going to have no problem selling the instrument. It's a great instrument, and you should absolutely, they deserve the reputation that they have. There are a couple notes worth mentioning. A lot of people mentioned problems with tuning stability with this style of tuners. And this kind of goes to, I've had this kind of problem in the past with like Fender Strat kind of modern tuning keys. Those are my least favorite because I always find them going out of tune. I find it really hard to keep those in tune. My favorite kind of tuning heads are vintage style, where you plug it in and then you wrap it around, or locking tuners, of course. Those definitely hold your tone pretty well. So I haven't had that much experience with it to definitively say these are awesome tuners or these are terrible tuners. I'm content with what I have now, and there's been no part of me that's rushed out and said you have to buy new tuning keys. That might change in the past. I might have to spend the $80 on Sweetwater to get new locking tuners because I really love this instrument, and that would be a worthwhile investment. It's kind of peace of mind to know that you have stable tuners. But I haven't had any problem with these. The nuts are great, absolutely stable. They just fit the strings in very well like a glove. Yeah, I don't know if you can tell, but I really like this instrument right now. And I would like to know if you've made it this far in the video, either you really like these guitars or you like the passion that I have for these guitars. I don't know if I really love like people playing the instrument. Maybe that's all a video is valued at. I like talking about them. I like talking about the details. I feel like it's just kind of dime a dozen that you can go out and look at other really, really great players to compare the two playing styles. But for now, I'm going to renege on what I said. I'm not going to compare the tones between the two. I'll just let this up as a matter of public opinion. Because if you go on YouTube, you can absolutely find no talking, just playing between the two instruments. I'm not a great player, so let other great players really shine the light on these. So, in conclusion, two very, very good instruments, but if ever afforded the opportunity, I think that you should go with this one. I really do. I think that this one in particular is the sapphire color. I don't know if I haven't seen it on Sweetwater exactly. I've seen the Paul's guitar, the Aqua, and that's $1,000. This is more at the $800 range. But if you can get a custom 22 or a custom 24, absolutely go for it. I saw one on Sweetwater that was absolutely gorgeous. It has, it's a new color, and it's like a gray on the top, kind of brown on the back, but it has the matching headstock, which I think is a really nice feature, and they put it on the customs. So you don't need to buy an extremely expensive PRS to get that matching headstock, I don't think. Anyways, thank you so much if you've made it this far into the video. Wow. God bless you. And if you haven't, well, you just don't know about the end of the video, and that's completely fine. You saw the beginning. So thanks, guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Stay safe in quarantine.